talking about that mindset that made you a champion and the mindset that eventually took you to that 1,100 pounds. Because as you were saying, it was way, well above previous records and stuff. So how, hiring a sports psychologist, I believe that's what you did, right? And,
Yep.
and in doing that, did that like unlock some crazy potential that you didn't have access to before?
I think it gave me the sort of capability to sort of have a bit more of a flick switch. I mean, everyone's got a flick switch. You can be in the gym joking around, training with your pals, and then, you're doing a max bench. And everyone's got that flick switch. Like, right, let's get serious now, boys. Everyone shuts up. Everyone, egging you on. And I was just able to add onto that flick switch. I think that, when that referee whistle blows and it's like, right, go ahead, do your max lift, or, you're running with weights or whatever, your adrenaline pumps, you're not thinking about anything else. You're just thinking about those weights, nothing else. But there's ways to add to that. I could turn that weight into my child, and I've got to lift that weight off my child in order to save my child. And those are the sort of things that, you'd be getting in my head walking into lifts. I've got to pull this bus as fast as I possibly can because my kids were under the wheels or whatever, Mm-hmm. It was just little tricks of the mind like that. I mean, the deadlift was a special one. I managed to, again, I don't want to get too far into that because I'll get really upset, but create a scenario in my head where someone was doing something to my kids and it just lit me up. Like I never forget this. Is like when I pulled the 500, and I remember staring at the referee and just sort of twisting my eye. And I just turned the referee into this fucking devil. And I just remember staring at him, and when you're that angry, like there was no human on that planet that could have stopped me from fucking killing that guy if I wanted to that day. Like I would have plowed through 200 policemen. I was fucking raged. And I just managed to get myself so wound up, and then it's like, boom, right, you're the fucking devil, and strap onto that devil and rip that fucker up. And that was a very weird and unique thing for me to do, but to master that was fucking hard, like, because it's not something you can do very often.
Oh, that's really weird because you can put yourself in a really weird spot. Like you were saying, you get upset.
Yeah.
I've done that before where I've made myself like hysterical. Like I almost couldn't breathe.
Yes.
And I didn't even fucking do anything yet, because I got myself so wound up, or I even got myself to like cry.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh shit, like that's whatever I touched on right there. That's not good.
Yeah.
I need to fucking back out of this.
Yeah. You
take it too far sometimes.
That's the thing. It's, if you think about the wrong things, then that can have a very detrimental effect on your lifting. If you're walking into a deadlift thinking about flowers and fucking teddy bears, then you're not going to do very well. If you're thinking about killing 200 people in a fight, then you're going to do all right.
So when you were like having to practice this up to the 1100, was it more, I guess, severe when you actually did that lift? Because you practiced it. So I'm guessing you practiced it during lifts too.
It wasn't. No, it was. So, I mean, talking with a psychiatrist, it was very like, right, what makes you angry? What drives you in life? What do you love the most? Just sort of digging at things, finding what made me tick. And then we found that tick box. We found something that I'm majorly, obsessed with, in love with, and that's my kids. They are the number one thing in my life. And then the psychiatrist started touching on little scenarios with them. Well, what if this happened? How would you feel? And I'm like, yeah, I'd kill them. And then you add a bit in, or how would you feel then? And then we got to a scenario, it was just like, where I was just like fucking shaking in anger on a couch, just like, and then the psychiatrist was like, okay, calm down, we found it, there we go. And then it was just like channeling in on that one sort of scenario, little bits every week when I was doing my deadlifting training, just a little bit, not getting too wound up, but just like, oh, right, okay, here we go. And then as we got closer to the competition, that thought process just got stronger and stronger and stronger. Until on the day, it just became a reality. It became like, when I was lifting that weight, you zoom in on my eyes, like I'm not in that fucking arena. I'm elsewhere. I'm not lifting that weight in my head. I'm lifting something else.
If you would have died from the lift, do you think it would have been worth it? Because like it kind of sounds like you almost did. Like you had blood coming out of your eyeballs and ears and stuff, right? You couldn't see.
Sorry, that's like coronavirus Yeah, it was pretty harsh. You know, I think it was more so not the actual lift, but the complete arrogance of sort of holding it at the top of the lift and just having a little look around like, fuck the world. Like you're all fucking wrong. Cause I mean, as you know, the hate and sort of negativity I got around the 500 was quite high. You know, even the promoters, other strongmen, no one believed it could be done. So that was a very satisfying moment, standing there at the top of that lift and just smirking to those people, really. Just sort of like, fuck you. Here it is.
Do you think anybody else will be able to tap into that type of mindset? Like, I'm sure people are capable, but do you see anybody that right now is?
You know what? I don't know. I mean, for me to pull the 500, I mean, I think I've said this many times, is that in the lead up, I couldn't pull above 460 in training. Like, and I didn't really try. I tried a 480 once and failed it. And I was just like, oh, fucking that. It was just bad for my head to do that. So I believe that, you know, the sort of theory that most athletes only have access to 70% of the muscle fibers. That's a fact. Anyone that can tap into that 100% of the muscle fibers, that's the man that's going to do some damage in the world. And I managed to do that. I believe at the time, physically, I was only capable of lifting 470, 475, something like that. And I was able to tap into that sort of side of the brain to release the adrenaline and go to that margin, get 100% muscle fiber recruitment and lift the 500. As anyone, like I believe that 4 is stronger than me right now in deadlift. I do believe that. But it's having that extra edge to really tap into those muscle fibers to go to that 500. Has he got that? I don't know. You know, that's down to him as an athlete. It's a tough thing.
If you didn't have kids, would there have been anything where you could have built up in your mind that would have got you to the same place?
I couldn't really answer that. You know, I don't know. I don't know. Could I have done that with my wife, my mum, my dad, my brothers? I don't know. I don't know how wound up I'd get, but my kids was a very touchy one. You know, everyone, if you've got children, you'll know what I'm on about. You've got that connection. You know, it's your own blood. You know, you've watched those kids grow up. They are your wife. You know, nothing else matters really.
You ever going to get a real job, or are you going to be a bum?
I'll tell you what, man, I'm going to carry on being a bum for the rest of my life. It feels pretty good.
How do you deal with the negative comments? Because you mentioned that, you know, that comment from that mom kind of bugging you a lot. Sounds like you've utilized a lot of it as positive energy.
Yeah, definitely. You know, any negativity in my life, I'll flip it on its head. You know, if someone says you can't do something, it's like another piece of coal in that fire to make me go out and do it. The 500 kilo was the prime example. You know, it wasn't just the general. I put it on Facebook, and the reaction was actually quite funny. I don't know if you were. It was everywhere. You know, everyone was talking about it, and I would say 95% of the sort of following were like, nah. Talking out of his ass, like not going to happen. I know for a fact the promoters didn't believe it can be done. All the strongmen believed it couldn't be done. There's not one strongman that said Eddie's going to do that. Not fucking one. Friends and family, you know, I think they put the face on of like, yeah, you can do anything, but I don't think there was anyone that was like stood by my side like, you're going to smash this. There was no one, you know.
Not wife?
No. Damn. But I think, you know, but she'd say it, she would support it, but it was like, no, you know, when you're like, the only person I would say who actually truly sort of backed me was my training partner, Luke Fulbrook. He was there through thick and thin. And I remember I think it was 3 weeks before the 500, and I pulled 450 for a speed rep, and he just like sat in a chair, was just like shaking his head. He's like, mate, you're going to fucking smash that 500. But it took until 3 weeks before for someone to go, you're going to fucking do this. And it meant the most coming from a training partner, because he never blew smoke up my arse. He never once said something that I knew I wasn't capable of doing. And that one comment from him perhaps just gave me that little bit more confidence to sort of walk in, you know, I can do this now.
Look at what he did for the deadlift, you know. If you looked at like the last maybe 2-3 years or so, since you hit that record, I think maybe last year there's like 5 or 6 people doing over 1,000 pounds.
Yeah.
Like that's amazing. You created that. I think that's awesome.
It's definitely raised the bar, literally, in the strongman world. And I mean, it's like 4 now, you know, 4 is going for this 501 kilo deadlift. we wouldn't even be talking about that if it wasn't for me. You know,
Right.
people would still be thinking it's not possible. Do you know who Roger Bannister is?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the first man to run a 4-minute mile.
Yeah.
It was, and this is reality. If you Google it, everybody exactly the same as me. What an idiot. What a dickhead. It's impossible. Like a deluded motherfucker. He did it within 2 months. I think 3 other people did it within 2 years. 50 people.
No, there's high school kids and stuff that do it.
Yeah, exactly. It was just one man that gave the sort of world the belief that it can be done, and I did that with the deadlift. So I made people believe it can be done, and that in turn takes everyone's training up a peg. And as you say, like 1,000-pound deadlift now are just popping up everywhere. It's like the normal. The normal thing is 1,000-pound deadlift in strongman now. And who knows, you know, maybe 10, 20 years from now, maybe 500 kilo will be talked about as a normal thing. You just don't know.